Listening to Pop Talk makes my lady parts tingle. Listen.
Warning, due to adult language and humor, the following content may not be suitable for any viewers under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The views and opinions expressed during the following live stream or video content are those of the individual and may not reflect those of others. Thank you.
Autobots, transform and roll out.
Good evening and welcome, one and all, to PACIFIC414 Pop Talk, along with Paranorman Tag. I am your host, Mike. Tonight we will be joined by Whoopa Troopa, and we have several articles to discuss. But first, Baron, how are you doing?
Yeah, I just got up. Not too long ago, I was up really late doing, battling on Twitter. There was a lot of people out there, so I had to be my keyboard warrior, and I was just arguing on I can't believe those people on Twitter. Can you believe Twitter? I can't.
And I do want to say hello to Baron Money 007, who's doing an imitation of Cash Money 007, or should we say Crash Money 007? Hey guys, these people.
Yeah, these people on Twitter.
This is what happens when you're not here, Cash. We give you such a hard time. We're not going to stop.
Nope.
The
Never.
fun don't stop.
Ever.
But I do want to say greetings to Old Man, who says, "Oh goody, here we go."
Yeah.
And we also have the long-suffering Mrs. Tag, who says, "I'm here."
Yes.
Well, so somebody's got to keep an eye on Baron from the chat.
Yeah, definitely. There we go. Yeah. Always keeping an eye on me. Doesn't trust me, and she's smart for that.
So on tonight's show, we are, of course, going to be talking about the announcement made yesterday by James Gunn and Peter Safran when it comes to DC Universe, DC Studios, however you want to look at it. And we will give our own individual non-Hollywood opinion, our fan opinion, and that ought to be interesting. Of course, we will also talk about an article from Bounding in the Comics about Persona 3 and 4 and some of the whining that is supposedly going on when it comes to the remasters of those games. I do want to say hello to Lord Thoth. How are you doing, Lord Thoth? We will also talk about an article from Cosmic Book News. It says Doctor Who's Russell T. Davies blasts woke TV writers for rubbish writing. And I think we're going to lead off with this story just to get it out of the way. We are going to talk about this article from Superhero Hype that says Showtime cancels Let the Right One In, merges with Paramount Plus. And as I said to Baron before we went live, I said it doesn't matter who they merge with, what they change their name to. No one's going to subscribe.
Yeah, if you don't have them now, does Showtime actually have a streaming service like HBO? I mean, I really don't know.
I don't know. I don't know either. I never really cared to look, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, I'm not shopping for any streaming services, so because that's the case, then they'd be merging together. But who knows?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead, like always, put the article into the chat. This way, if you want to read it along with me, you can. And if you want to read it later, that's fine too. So this article was posted on the 30th. It's by Blair Marnell. There's my first blooper of the night.
Yeah.
And it says Showtime cancels Let the Right One In, merges with Paramount Plus. There are big changes ahead for Showtime as the premium cable network is slated to merge with its corporate sibling, Paramount Plus. But in the meantime, that means 3 Showtime dramas are getting the axe ahead of the merger. Via deadline, the casualties are Let the Right One In, American Gigolo, and 3 Women. I've actually never heard of any of those shows.
No, I mean, I'm assuming the American Gigolo is based off of the movie from the 1980s, but I never even know they had one. You know, a show.
This is news to me.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I haven't kept my ear that close to the ground.
I guess not. Okay, that's it. Pop Talk's been canceled because we didn't know what the hell was going on out there. So it was nice. It was a nice run while we had it. It was nice having you all here, and I'll see you all in the funny pages.
Smart ass. It says Let the Right One In was only loosely based on the hit 2004 novel by John Adjevite. I don't know. I first name to screw up for the night.
Adjevite. Yeah, something like that.
Advide. Lindquist. I don't know.
You got that part right.
Yeah. Hey, gotta get something right, you know. As well as the Swedish and American film adaptations that followed. Demand Monsieur. Yeah. I hate these names that I can't pronounce.
Screw you, Europe.
You and your fancy names and the fancy dialects and all that fancy stuff. Headlined the series as Mark Kane, a father who was seeking to cure his 12-year-old daughter, Eleanor Kane, Madison Taylor Baez.
There you go.
I can say that name.
Yay.
From her transformation into a vampire. However, Deadline notes that the series will be shopped to other outlets, so it may get another season if it gets picked up. The biggest surprise.
Oh, I was just going to say, I've never heard of the book. It's supposed to be the hit novel from 2004. Never heard of it. Never heard of the show. I know nothing about it. Boy, you guys did a great job promoting.
Talk about see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. See no show, hear about no show, speak about no show. And I do want to say hello to Gap After Dark, who says, okay, you're ending the stream. Damn, I missed it. No, we're not ending the stream. Don't listen to Baron. Okay, since you're ending the stream, I'll see you guys later. No, Gap. Don't ever listen to Baron.
On the funny pages.
The article continues to say the biggest surprise among the cancellations was 3 Women, which hadn't even premiered yet. Wow.
Oh.
I've got the perfect clip to play. I'm sorry for laughing, but wow.
No, I'm not sorry.
Oh,
sorry, not sorry for laughing.
Oh, wow.
You're gone!
Holy
wow.
cow. Are they even going to show it?
Was it that bad?
It must have been 3 women. I mean,
oh gosh.
Well, I can see the problem. There's 4 women in the cast. The show lied.
Oh boy. 3 Women, which hadn't even premiered yet. It had already been filmed, and it boasted a cast that included Shailene Woodley, Betty Gilpin, DeWanda Wise, and Gabrielle Creevy. Like the right win in. Let the right win in. Whatever. These shows are canceled. What do I care?
Yeah, who cares? And you know,
It will also be
the
shopped around.
the risk getting called a bigot by my other co-host on the other show, Vigilante Williamson. Sounds like they should shop that one to BET.
You do know 24 is going to say something about that.
No, Vig is going to say it.
All right.
I know what 24 will say. Man, brother, what are you doing, brother? I don't know about you, brother.
Trust me, I don't know about Baron sometimes either. And Jet Sparks, how are you doing this evening? And happy birthday to you, Jet Sparks.
Oh, happy birthday.
And this article goes on to say, as for the merger, the new name of the premium cable outlet and streaming service will be Paramount Plus with Showtime. Ooh, that's very creative. Paramount Plus with Showtime. All right.
Let's get that press release out there. People might not know.
However, Showtime's original programming and movies will only be available on the premium tier. Gosh, darn it.
Well, then they should call it No Time.
They should call it Paramount minus -0, infinity -0.
Yeah, Paramount FU. You know, that's what they should call it.
That's what they done with Star Trek.
And it's like, okay, we're going to have this with the Showtime, but you have to pay more.
Okay, it says Showtime has captivated audiences for decades with ambitious original series that defined premium content and fandom, said Paramount Plus. Well, Paramount, why did I put the plus in there? Because I've been saying Paramount Plus a lot. Bob Backish in a statement, its name will always stand for critically acclaimed, groundbreaking entertainment and creative excellence. Now with Showtime's content integrated into our flagship streaming service and select Paramount Plus originals joining the linear offering, Paramount Plus will become the definitive multi-platform brand in the streaming space, and the first of its kind to integrate streaming and linear content in this way. Well, that's because cable TV is dying. Regular TV is dying. We all know this.
Yeah. And this is part of the reason right here. I mean, they're trying to make a run to all this streaming. They're ignoring the other side. So what happens? Well, boom, that's what happens. And of course, I mean, terrestrial and cable don't have to die, but these people are lost out there. And basically, when it comes around to this joining up, I think one of our esteemed guests that we've had on the show says it right.
I call bullshit.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
Well, that is appropriate.
Yeah.
And it finishes off the article by saying the Paramount Plus and Showtime merger will go into effect later this year, but a specific date was not announced. And of course, what do we think? I've already said it. It doesn't matter who they merge with. It doesn't matter what they change their name to, what they add to their name. It's still going to be an extremely low quality streaming service, one of many that we don't need. We need to start getting rid of all these streaming services.
Right. I mean, Showtime had a chance to really knock out of the park if they had their other stuff not behind a paywall in this. Okay, you're going to be paying all this for Paramount Plus. Now, if you want our Showtime stuff, you have to add more. You just bought a streaming service. Use it to its full advantage. And this is one of the things that's going to be the death of streaming service as well. It's like, oh, now you're just setting up a pay-per-view. Disney Plus has been doing it. Oh, you want to watch these movies that are coming out that we have? Well, you got to pay $25 or whatever just to watch our Disney film on Disney Plus that you're already paying for, by the way. I mean, with this constant paywall, it's going to be becoming faster and faster and faster when these streaming services are going to start becoming Yeah, right. I can talk.
Irrelevant.
Thank you. Yeah, like he was having problems, folks. Look at me. You know, it's going to be. You're going to start seeing the mergers of it. This could have been the first sign of merging stuff, but as time goes along, it's going to be a matter that the ones that are suffering the most are going to be begging some other streaming service, hey, let's get together, and you can have our entire library or whatever. So you could see, that happening with within about 3 years. I think you're going to start seeing the collapsing of these streamings big time.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see some of them close shop sometime this year, going into next year.
Well, I mean, look at Paramount Plus, where they're already starting to farm out Star Trek again a little bit after they grabbed everything on there. I mean, go to Pluto TV. Go to Pluto TV. There's 2 Star Trek channels.
Yeah,
You
one
see
where you can watch Next Generation right now. The other you can watch DS9.
Right, and the one with Next Generation, you can also see the old show, the original. So, I mean, there's 3 Star Trek series you can sit back and just watch. Just turn it on and just melt your brain down. What do you need? What do you need it for? If they really wanted to keep that, they wouldn't do. Secure. They wouldn't do that. They just say everything's on ours, or you get no Star Trek streaming.
Yeah, and Jet Sparks brings up that there's BET Plus, there's MGM Plus. It's
Right.
like, no. Okay. I should rename my other channel to PACIFIC414 Plus.
Yeah, I think so.
I kill myself.
Yes, you do. You know what? Literally, really, you should do that. Just
as a joke. Just as a joke, because it is a joke when you have these companies, they're trying to, launch their streaming service, and then they go, what do we call it? Apple TV Plus, George. Ooh, I got one. Oh, Paramount Plus. Ooh,
How about this? How about Hulu Plus?
Really? I was waiting for Hulu XXX.
Yeah. I think a lot of us were. But no, I mean, that's what they have for Hulu. It's Hulu Plus, and then something else. I can't remember, but.
Yeah, I mean, you have ESPN Plus, you have, all this streaming crap.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Netflix started it, but they're even suffering too.
Mm-hmm.
They canceled some movies that were already completed. We read that story on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Netflix was great where you could literally use it as your DVD store from home. You sit down, okay, I can watch this movie. When these services started going into doing their original series, they started losing focus on some of the stuff that's important. It's just, Netflix was basically, well, I mean, it started out with, the mail-in thing where, you mailed, sent away and they sent you a video and a DVD, you watch it and you mailed it back. You had no fees for late, which was one of the things that killed Blockbuster. They kept their, late fee thing up, and it's like, well, I can have this that's mailed to me and I don't have to worry about any of that. Going straight into the couch potato mindset. So, sorry.
And real quick, I do want to welcome in our guest of the evening.
A wizard is never late. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Whoopa Troopa.
Hello.
Whoopa.
Hello, Whoopa.
What's up, gentlemen?
Not much. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
I can't complain.
No, not at all.
I can complain. I'm very good at it, in fact.
Oh, we know. Actually, I can't complain. I had to take my dog into the vet today. Everything's okay with her. Duchess, the toothless doxy. And I thought on the way home, hey, I heard they have 4 for $10 at Arby's for the roast beef. Maybe I'll mix them up. And as I drive by the local one, the drive-through is just out, like insane. There, it's like Normally I'd go in and do it, but I had the dog with me, so they don't take kindly to people bringing animals in. So I said, okay, I'm going to go home and I'll just eat some raviolis.
It sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So, Whoopo, you just got the beginning of the show. We just talked about Showtime canceling 3 shows, and they're going to be merging with Paramount Plus later this year. And since you might not have heard me say it, it doesn't matter who they merge with, what they call themselves.
No.
The service isn't going to be viable.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think a lot of this is just, I think it feels like the streaming service is finally realizing, hey, we can't keep these many up. Once you've made this many streaming services, you have to buy. You're essentially the same price as cable. People say, well, wait a second, what's the point of this?
Yep. 10 years ago, they were talking about cutting the cord.
Yep. And now you're looking at that again, and you're looking at unless you're something with Disney and Hulu, which Disney, I believe, bought Hulu once it was already an established service. Paramount Plus came out recently, and it was, from what I understand, it had Yellowstone in it, and that's about all that people wanted.
Yeah, well,
Yellowstone and football. Yeah, football.
Well,
Blue 42! Blue 42, sit up!
Careful, you might prolapse that colon doing that. I think that's what took out, took out a few of those commentators. But, well, yeah, I mean, as it goes, Paramount's been around for, I think, 6 years at least. Of course, it started off as CBS Interactive or whatever they had that. So,
CBS No Access.
Yeah, No Access. There we go. So, I mean, yeah, 6 years. And, of course, now it's Paramount. And this merger offers nothing to the consumer. Not a damn thing. You have to be subscribed in some fashion or another to Showtime to get the Showtime stuff. Then why have it? Why do this? You haven't learned your lesson.
And I do want to say hello to Jenna Tolles. Welcome, Jenna.
Hey, comrade.
Any relation to Jethro?
Don't answer that, Whoopa. Don't answer that. All right. So I think we've said what we had to say when it comes to this merger. There's nothing more to say, in my opinion, unless you guys have anything else you want to add.
It's a non-factor.
All right. So let's move on to the big story. And yeah. The one that was announced yesterday, the plans for the DC universe.
Oh, that's still around?
Apparently it is still going to be around.
Okay.
Whether anyone's going to be around to watch it, that's another thing. And Jenna says, "Hail Pacific and Baron."
Hi, Jenna.
All right, so this article comes from Bounding in the Comics. Let me just get the article into the chat for anyone who would like to read it. And it says, James Gunn and Peter Safran reveal their slate for DC Studios includes new Batman and already announced Superman film. We've talked about it at length with Crit and a few other people offline, and none of us want to see another Superman origin story.
Or Batman, for that matter.
Yeah. And hello to Bucky's Crafting.
Hail, Bucky.
What's that? Whoopastroika?
Whoopstotska. The Great Empire.
So
I can't
this
roll
article,
my R's, so I only sound like a subpar Russian villain.
Nastarovia. Nastarovia, comrade.
So this article comes from John F. Trent. It was posted yesterday on Bounding into Comics. It says DC Studios CEOs James Gunn and Peter Safran revealed their upcoming slate for DC, and it includes a brand new Batman as well as the previously announced Superman film. Okay, I realize that Batman and Superman are your big comic names,
Mm-hmm.
and those are the names that most people know and will draw butts to the theaters. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But do we really need to see another reboot of Batman, another reboot of Superman,
No.
especially since we already got one last year when it comes to Batman?
I mean, honestly, I think everybody knows the origin story now of them. I can understand back, like even 88, 89, and definitely 1980 having to, start absolutely, this is a story of Superman. This is a story of Batman. That's how they started. Because at that time, not everyone still was comic book knowledge. But now it's permeated so much over the last, 40, 30 years,
Mhm.
depending on which franchise you're talking about. You don't need it. You can just go right into it. Boom, there we go. You just have to start off with, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a praline. No, it's Superman. That's all you need to do. And then get right into the story.
I mean, unfortunately, Hollywood is never going to get that.
No. No. Yeah, I want to see superheroes in their prime, not their beginnings.
You know, I'd rather see a superhero in their prime. They already know what they have to do. And even if you want to tell a story of the character at the end of their career, like Batman,
Mm-hmm.
fine, I'd be fine with that. But
Right.
we don't need another freaking reboot of Batman and Superman. And I'll get back to reading the article. I'm just looking for a couple of links to post into the chat. There it is. There's that one that I'm looking for. So let me go ahead and put that in there. And we got our favorite orca. We got input and we got a favorite orca.
We have a favorite orca? We got an orca?
Yeah, Crit, I
Oh,
was just
no.
I was just telling everybody that that's what we've been talking about offline. How none of us want to see another origin story for Superman. And
Yeah,
of
and
course, go ahead, Whoopa.
yeah, I was gonna jump in. Sorry, someone called, so I couldn't
Okay.
answer. But listening to what you guys said, yeah, like the Superman thing, in the end, and maybe this is just how much they've rebooted people. I wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind a new Superman reboot, but I like the one we had.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't a huge fan of the story. I'm not gonna pretend I'm the biggest Snyderverse fan, but
Mm-hmm.
Henry Cavill was a great Superman. And they laid a decent groundwork for him. At least you could have worked off of. But Batman, I mean, they literally just rebooted Batman. And in
Right.
this announcement, not to get ahead, but I did read the article ahead. I'm an A plus student. But they're saying,
Kiss
well,
up.
we're gonna, yeah, well, we're gonna do this Batman, but then we're also gonna still do the last Batman we put out last year.
Right.
What's the point of doing that then?
Doesn't
Right.
make any
Pick
sense.
one or the other.
I can
Exactly.
understand, like they've talked about the Elseworlds that they have here, where it's like, oh, you do like a one-off, or like maybe you do some sort of, you know, different, alternate Earth scenario where it's like, oh yeah, but this is going to be, it seems like a full other Batman arc, just adjacent to the current Batman arc. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
mean, I could see people, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. And everybody in the chat can
You're
correct
wrong.
me if I'm wrong, but I can see people confusing the two. Thinking
Well,
that both series are connected to one another when in fact they're not. That both stories are related to one another when in fact they're not.
you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. That's like, stick to something and stay with it. How many different verses do we have? I mean, on CW, you had what was it, the Arrowverse, even though I think Flash was the first show that came out. And it's part of that. You got, of course, the Batman. Then you have the Snyderverse superheroes. Uh, in their various forms with with Wonder Woman, Aquaman, the Batman, Ben Affleck, and of course Henry Cavill. You have the other Superman in the with was it Superman and Lois? I mean, honestly, it gets so. How can someone keep up with all this? And that's the big problem that they're having. They're so schizophrenic at DC, trying to keep up with the Joneses, aka the Marvelverse, and forgetting what their universe is all about. And and of course, now that Lord Crit's here, I just have to say this part.
Lord Crit is so sexy. Lord Crit is so sexy. Lord.
So that was a comment that came in that we had to make sure he knew. So
So this article goes on to say the slate was revealed in a lengthy expose by Boris Kidd at the Hollywood Reporter, alongside a video released by Gunn. In the video, Gunn claims his vision for DC moving forward is to make sure it's all connected.
right, and again, he's coming out of the Marvelverse. That's how they did there. So it's like copy and paste. You can't copy and paste.
There truly are no original ideas anymore.
No, and they could have. They could have.
Yeah.
Hey, DC does have one new idea or original idea. They said, "Hey, this thing that we messed up for the last 5 years? What if we become the first studio to mess up two things, two full series reboots?"
Hey, if we had fun messing up one, let's mess up two.
Yeah.
Let's add a third one later on.
Yeah. Yay.
Yay.
Woohoo.
Goes on to say, he explained, it's one of our jobs, mine and Peter's, to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation, that the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story.
Well, you just blew it with having two Batman films.
Yeah. This is double talk.
Right. As Patrick Stewart said earlier, I call bullshit.
Goes on to say, Gunn continued, and if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds outside of the mainstream DCU continuity. Oh, so that they're already, saying no. This doesn't even connect to this. This is its own separate universe.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying essentially. It's the new 52, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I heard, and I'll give. Hold on, I just subscribed to these guys, so I want to, I'm not stealing their stuff without giving them credit. Comics League, they did a little bit of a live stream on this, and hello, Angry Canadian.
I do want to say hello to Angry Canadian. I don't mean to interrupt you, Whoopa, but I just have a response to Angry Canadian who says, "Glory to Whoopstatska."
Glory to you and your house.
So yeah, just sit back with your twofer there,
Yeah.
and enjoy the show.
Yeah, hey, Angry Canadian, you missed it last week, eh? We were watching Strange Brew, eh?
Yeah.
But no, I like. They were saying that the DC logo that they used was specifically from the New 52 in this video, apparently. So that seems to be what they're going to be going off of. And I'll say too, I like the concept of having Elseworlds. It's just, it seems like it's going to be like with the Joker, which I know they've already said, hey, we're only making stories we're only making stories if it's going to be something we think is good, not just make content. And Teen Titans Go, I hate Teen Titans Go, but I don't think anyone's going to care too much if that's made in Elseworlds. It's just stuff like when you have a whole Batman arc. To me, that's way too much. You can't do that.
It is. It definitely is, Whoopa. And I'm just reading some of the comments in the chat, but the article goes on to say Gunn then went on to explain how DC's upcoming film releases, specifically with Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and The Flash, tie into his vision. Yeah, but here's the thing about Flash, Fury of the Gods. Did you hear about Zachary Levi when he had responded in Twitter the other day when asked about a certain pharmaceutical company if they are, one of the big problems in the world, and he said absolutely, and people were already trying to cancel him for that response.
I knew I always liked him. I mean, what?
Well, yeah, when 10 years ago or even 20 years ago, big pharmaceutical companies were the main villains.
hmm
But now they're just only here to help.
Mm-hmm.
Article goes on to say he detailed first we have Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That involves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DCU universe.
Oh, no.
Well,
It was not meant to reset the DC universe.
no. It was meant to continue what already existed.
Right. I mean,
yeah, but once I'll say two things about this. One, we kind of already knew it was going to happen, and two, if this is the lengths that we have to, I know that the rumor, it's not confirmed that this will happen, but if it doesn't happen, I've lost all hope already. But I'm hoping that this is their excuse to get rid of Ezra Miller, and if it is, I will accept it. That's what we have to do, get rid of him.
well, if they don't get rid of Ezra Miller, the fans will turn their back because that man has done so much damage and illegal things. He should be behind bars right now. Honestly, what was he was choking?
If it were any of us, we would be behind bars.
Right.
Yeah.
So let Cavill and The Rock go, and we'll keep Ezra Miller because oh my, how wonderful he is. He should have been dropped like a rock.
Yeah, and the thing about that too is just Ezra Miller is not even really a good actor. Like
He's not very likable.
Oh no, but like Cavill was amazing as Superman. Batfleck might be controversial, but I enjoyed him. I just wish he had some better writing. Or you have Gal Gadot as a great Wonder Woman. Ezra Miller is weird as the Flash. It doesn't really work. So it's like, why are you keeping him? You've got every excuse to get rid of him. He's very much replaceable. I think if you had the CW Flash, it'd be a better Flash.
Well, that's what Phil McCracken was saying.
Yeah, same here. It's like, why didn't they bring him in? They should have brought him in into the film. What a great tie-in! It would have really shot up interest in the Flash series in the CW.
So this article goes on with more from the press conference, and then to move on to Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who was a marvelous part of the DCU, and then Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects. Goes on to say whether or not these characters and actors continue on in Gunn's DC vision is still unclear. He told The Hollywood Reporter there is nothing that prohibits that from happening. Goes on to say, next, Gunn revealed the first chapter of his DCU vision is called Gods and Monsters, and began to reveal the slate, which he says part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. Interestingly, in the expose from The Hollywood Reporter, Gunn and Safran also expanded on their vision for DC, with Gunn explaining one of our strategies is to take our diamond characters, which is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and we use them to prop up other characters that people don't know. Safran added, to build those lesser known properties into diamond properties of tomorrow. Well, why not have Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot in the roles of Superman and Wonder Woman. That would get people to come to see those, lesser known characters and get those characters into the minds of a new fan base.
Right. I mean, let's get a decent Green Lantern film. It's not that people don't know who Green Lantern was. They just didn't do the Ryan Reynolds film any justice to the character. Nothing against Ryan because Reynolds. That wasn't necessarily all his fault at all. It's just the people who did the film. But people obviously now know who Green Arrow is, and they know who Green Lantern is. I mean, you can bring these characters in, no problem. They're very much part of a silver. What do they call them? The silver slate or whatever.
The diamond.
The diamond, right? I mean, these guys have been around so long and done so many things. I mean, Green Lantern and Green Arrow comics where they were together.
Well, Green Arrow was, he's big more now with the when CW, but he was a big part. I say big part. He was probably one of the biggest secondary characters in all the animated series, just JLU and JLA. So it's not like he's an unknown character unless you're a comics nerd. If you watch the TV shows, which a lot of people did, you'd know about him.
Right.
And I think it's funny, too, hearing basically the director of Guardians of the Galaxy say that. I mean, that's pretty much how he is where he is now because of Guardians. Who propped up the Guardians? Because I am not a big comic book fan, so I don't know a lot of the stuff, but I've heard from people who were big comic book fans. Yeah, I didn't really know much about the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
in that
I didn't
movie,
either.
Who was there was no other legacy characters in there or no Iron Man to hype him up or something. It was just them. It worked because people wanted to see MCU and they went in and said, "Oh, that's cool." So
yeah. Green Arrow's the blonde with the goatee.
So this article goes on to say, Creature Commandos. However, the timeline of the slate seems to indicate this is not really the strategy at all, as it begins with a rather obscure animated series called Creature Commandos. The animated series will be 7 episodes in length and is being written by Gunn and is reportedly already in production. Kit describes the show originally a team of classic monsters assembled to fight the Yahtzees. I have to say that because, YouTube and you have to use code words. This is a modern take on the concept. Gunn didn't really provide any details on the series in the video, but he noted something that we're going to do that is a little bit different at DC is that we're going to have characters move into animation. Out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who they play them live action.
Well, that's a smart move.
Yeah. I can't really see any fault in that move.
I applaud that one.
The Creature Commandos first appeared in Weird War Tales number 93 back in 1980. The team consisted of Lieutenant Matthew Shreve, Elliot Lucky Taylor as Patchwork, Vincent Velcro, and Warren Griffith, aka Wolfpack, and Myra Rhodes, aka Medusa.
I heard she got stoned.
Yeah, I heard other people got stoned around her too. Everybody must get stoned. It says the new team, as pictured above, includes Rick Flag Sr., Ninja Mazursky, Dr. Phosphorus, Frankenstein, a.k.a. Eric Frankenstein, the Bride of Frankenstein, who DC describes as the show's lead, G.I. Robot, and Weasel.
So the Bride of Frankenstein is going to be the lead. Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the stuff that this is, I don't know about this, uh, just because it's obscure. But when you start off with what Rick Flag is in this, and again, I'm not an expert, but
Hmm.
you have Weasel and Rick Flag, and I think James Gunn's Suicide Squad, or I guess I'm not supposed to say that. Sorry, uh, James Gunn's Self Removal Squad, uh, is like, didn't they both die? Like, I'm pretty sure I remember that. So is this in the like? And I think that's still they're still keeping that canonized in this DCU. So is this a prequel of sense to that? Like, it's just I reading this, I was confused. It's like, well, wait a second, those guys are dead. How does this work?
Boy, I wish 24 was here. He'd tell us all up and down about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I probably should have sent him another invite. And it also mentions Amanda Waller. It says, next up on the slate is a series called Waller. Gunn explains this is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Excuse me, sorry. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker.
Hmm.
This is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol TV series he added. Well, as far as Watchmen, from what I heard about it, it wasn't a very good series.
No, it wasn't. In
Mhm.
fact, they went out there and blatantly made it known, screw the creator of this, aka Alan Moore. We don't care what he thinks. We're gonna do what we're gonna do, and it sucked.
In in that person's defense, though, if you ever read a modern tweet from Alan Moore, I can understand why you'd want to disregard anything he says.
Alan Moore is nuts. There is no doubt about it. The man is nuts. But I mean, if you're gonna do a Watchmen series, you gotta stay true to what the Watchmen was about, and they didn't care about that.
Hmm.
They didn't care about that at all. They went in there intentionally trolling everybody with the show, and you didn't get the Watchmen. You got some whiny, crying little, uh, white man bad stuff with the whole thing. So,
Hmm.
I mean, Al Moore, yeah, he's nuts. He's bonkers. Always has been. Um,
Hmm.
but I mean, look at what he's done, though. He's done some great works, and it should be at least respectful in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
And if
And
they weren't respectful to that, how can we believe that they're going to be faithful to anything else?
that's what I was just going to say.
Well,
Well, what are
right.
you reading my mind? Well, dude.
It's not hard. It's not hard.
Oh,
It's
don't
just
go
that.
that deep in there.
Oh, shots fired.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that little hamster on that treadmill back there. I mean, he's really getting tired.
F you.
Hey, just because I have the monkey with the symbols.
I do want to say hello to the Padawannabe. Freaking smart Alec. Baron Armantag, not you, Padawannabe. And input latency says also, yeah, I don't want current day creatives to be ruining more stuff.
Right.
None of us do. None of us do, but they're going to go in there and they're going to create it for modern sensibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Get a thick skin and you'll be able to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And Bucky says, I've got to go. Bedtime approaches, which means Mama's got to get to work. Have fun, everyone, and don't forget to like. Thank you for being here, Bucky. I really appreciate it. And if
See
you
you,
haven't
Bucky.
done so already, folks, please subscribe to Bucky's Crafting.
Yes, she has a video about making a whooper. You should all make the whooper.
Oh no.
Grow the whooper army.
Oh God, this is getting bad, folks. This is getting bad.
The propaganda is spreading, Barry.
It
You
is.
cannot stop it.
Good night, Bucky, and only make one whoopa. No, stop there. We don't need this to be like Gremlins.
No, we don't. We don't. One whoop is plenty.
And Whoopa's already a water type, so you don't even need to add water.
And thank you for being here, Bucky. I really appreciate it.
And putting up with our shenanigans. Shenanigans.
The article continues by talking about the Superman legacy by saying Gunn then moved on to what he is calling the true beginning of the DCU. How many beginnings do we need?
False starts.
False start. DC Universe. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. Second down. Wait, aren't they in the fourth down? Shouldn't the ball turn over? All right. It goes on to say that it's true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. He added, I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. So they're saying in 2 years, we're getting another Superman movie. Well, we didn't even get a second proper Superman movie with Henry Cavill.
No.
Also, it's saying that this is the proper start of the new DCU and it's 2 years away. That's just, it feels a little out there considering they're starting the announcements right now.
Yeah.
He added, okay, I already read that. Sorry. While Gunn punted on whether he will direct the film, Safran says he hopes he will. Well, of course he's going to direct a film. His ego's that big.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like JJ going, I have to save Star Wars and do the Rise of Palpatine.
We're hoping that he will direct it. And it's not an origin story. Yeah, right. I call BS on that. It focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. Superman represents truth, justice, and the American way. Yeah, wait. Let me read that again. Let me read that again because it wasn't too long ago where they changed the model to truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. But now they're saying truth, justice, and the American way. You're damn right.
That's Superman. And I heard they're bringing back the American way before. And it's like, now that this is a direct quote in there, what they're saying is like, let the blue-haired land whales wallow in it. Because that's what Superman's about. Truth, justice, and the American way.
And he finishes off the statement by saying he is kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned. That's true in today's society.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that, because I'm still kind of down on it all because, hey, I just wanted to keep Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
But he's, at the very least, he's saying all the right things. It makes me interested at the very least.
All right, so now he brings up the Lanterns and says Gunn then revealed an HBO TV series featuring Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart titled Lanterns. Well, at least Jon Stewart's going to be in there.
Yeah. And
Jon Stewart should have his own Green Lantern film, I think.
Right. But I'm just also a Hal Jordan fan, so I'm glad that they have both together.
Yeah,
I mean, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say it's nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, it is the Green Lantern Squad, after all. Yeah. There's many Green Lanterns.
Yeah, because I know with the animation stuff, and pretty much especially ever since Ryan Reynolds' movie happened, DC's kind of like, Hal Jordan? Who's that? Never heard of him. Here's Jon Stewart. I do like Jon Stewart a lot, but...
I think, I mean, having both of them, I think is, you can't go wrong.
No.
You get the old timers and the new timers together going, hey, this rocks.
Exactly. And it goes on to say he detailed this is the story of a couple of Green Lanterns, Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other lanterns peppered in there. but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. He added, all right, in it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU.
So are they or are they not going to be bringing Darkseid into this?
I would hope they would bring in Darkseid.
Yeah, I mean,
It seems like it, just because what were they saying? It's called Gods and Monsters. I mean,
yeah.
what else are you gonna? What else does that imply, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now he details on the Authority.
Respect my authority!
Sorry, I had to play it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
maybe I didn't have to play it. I chose to play it. That's right. I chose to play it.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And the Pat Wannabe says, America, F yeah. Here to say the mother effing day, yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Mm-hmm. It says, again, contradicting the idea of using Diamond Properties to launch the DCU, Gunn revealed their second film will be The Authority. Gunn revealed The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary, he explained. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. Sorry. I'm not familiar with The Authority, but
Mm-hmm.
if done properly, interest in these other comic book characters, comic book franchises
Mm-hmm.
might help.
Oh, you got me interested so far. My interest is piqued.
Paradise Lost. Gunn then jumped right into a live action TV series called Paradise Lost. He explained Paradise Lost is a story of Paradise Island, usually known as the Mascara, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. And it goes on to say, he then teased it's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all the inhabitants of Paradise, Island.
Okay, it'll be interesting to see what they have to do with that.
Yeah. The Brave and the Bold. The third film will see the introduction of DCU's Batman, which is separate from Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's vision. Okay. Gunn notes, The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line. So this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of the sort of Bat family in the DCU.
Okay, that could be interesting.
If done right, it could work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of. I'll also go back to the Wonder Woman thing too, because I just forgot to say something.
Oh, go ahead.
But I think it's a cool idea. I just worry about whenever they're saying certain things like, "Oh, it's gonna be like just like Game of Thrones, because that's just that's such a it's such a catch-all. It's what everyone's trying to emulate. It's like, well, how about you make your original stuff or stay true to the comics? Because Game of Thrones is Game of Thrones. That's different,
Right.
Yeah.
Especially.
Maybe
especially when you have so many shows trying to emulate the success of Game of Thrones or any other TV series. It's like,
Right.
no, do your own thing.
Yeah, well, they could be probably doing their own thing, but they're just using it as kind of a, trying to grab people going, hey, this way. And, that's been done before, where it's going to be like this, but, think of it like this, and you get into it. It's not really like that. But, I can see if they're talking about the political intrigue on Paradise Island, that's probably what they're sitting back saying, and obviously that's what we're looking at. Paradise Lost. I mean, obviously it has to do with that, but hopefully it'll go its own way and not try to copy George R. Loser's works.
We will see. We will see if the blueprint actually works.
I hope it's a little more appropriate. I assume it will be for the most part, but
I don't know.
I'm a bit of a prude sometimes, I must admit.
I don't know. Amazon.
We all can be.
But I want to see Amazon boobs.
Hey, this is fair. And then the Batman thing. Again, I think part of it is just having two Batman stories going simultaneously confuses me. But also, I am not a huge fan of Damian Wayne. I don't know if maybe that's controversial, but I would rather have Dick Grayson or Tim Drake, someone like that, personally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Someone who is more likable than Damian Wayne.
Mm-hmm. Definitely not Jason Todd. Everybody voted to have him killed back in the day.
Yeah.
And hello to DJ Ronnie G. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, DJ.
DJ.
And I'm going to go ahead and tell Nightbot to put his link in the chat.
You do that, Nightbot. You be good to him now, Nightbot, or you're fired.
The next item he brought up was Booster Gold. Booster Gold was announced as a new live-action TV series, with Gunn saying Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He's a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so people will love him. Goes on to say it's basically the superhero story of imposter story on an HBO Max series, he added.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, look at me.
Mm-hmm. Now, originally, Booster Gold was just a millionaire that was going out there trying to turn him. That was part of Justice League International. And he was just, he was present day millionaire that was just trying to go out there and get, fame and glory as a superhero. And he was usually teamed up with another one called Blue Beetle. And those two together were, I thought that was a great team up with Justice League International back in the day. And of course, he had his own comic, as did Blue Beetle. But when they were together in Justice League International, that was when they were, I really liked how they played off of each other in there as characters. So I'll be honest with you, I don't know when they turn him into a guy from the future that comes back in time, but it's still interesting. But it comes right down to the same thing. I want to be loved as a superhero. I want to be a superhero. Look at me. So, and that was the reason why he was also called Gold, because he was rich. Booster Gold.
I know he was in the animated Justice League stuff. That's when it was. I don't know if that's the first time it happened. I know that's when it was, though.
Yeah.
And I think he was like a janitor in at some facility and had his little robot friend was like, I'm going to be a superhero. And he was always very likable. And this was, I think that might be the project I'm most excited about from all this, just because every time there was a Booster Gold episode and JL, I think I keep saying, I don't remember, because there was Justice League and there was Justice League Unlimited. I don't remember which one, because I watched them both and they all blend together in my young but old brain. But every time you saw a Booster Gold episode, I was also like, oh, this is going to be good. Because he does like have some serious moments that really redeem his character, but also the ton of time there's like, yeah, he's just this goofy guy. who's regular in the animated series. At least he's just a regular guy who's just trying to be likable.
And back in the Justice League International days, he was just a regular guy too. He didn't have really any superpowers. He was just going out there and basically he was like the opposite of Bruce Wayne. Where he's a millionaire, but he wants to be seen by all and loved and worshipped, while Bruce Wayne likes to be in the shadows.
And the next one, and then I'm going to say it like this on purpose: Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Oh.
said Gunn then revealed that Tom Kane's Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow series was one of his favorite comic books from the last year, and it will be turned into a big science fiction epic.
Hmm.
Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl, in this story, she's a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much more jaded character.
Hmm. Okay.
All right.
Interesting.
And last but not least, Swamp Thing.
Hmm.
Finally, Gunn announced Swamp Thing, describing the film as a very dark horror story and the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories, he added.
That this makes no. This is the one thing where I do like the concept of Elseworlds, but when you say stuff like this, I just don't understand. It's like, well,
Yeah.
it's not in the DCU, but it feeds into the DC. Well, hold on, which one is it?
Right.
If
Go on.
it's like you're saying, oh, well, it's not in the DCU, but it might be in the DCU. It's like, well, I don't know what to think anymore. Gosh.
Well, it should be fully part of the DCU. I mean, there was the Swamp Thing movie when came out way back when was a great movie. Had Louis Jordan in it and Adrian Barbeau. I can't remember the second one they did. The second one it wasn't as good. I can't really remember it. But I mean, as it goes, he was very much Batman, and all the others had some encounters in one fashion or another with Swamp Thing. And this was another character was taken and really shaped a lot by Alan Moore when he got his hands on the character, which really made it darker in many ways. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to do this Swamp Thing show. But it shouldn't be outside. It should be part of it. Honestly.
It really should. And, there's so many other ways you can handle Swamp Thing other than how they're probably going to.
Mm, right. And which direction are they going to take? Are they going to be when it first came out, are they going to go Alan Moore direction or whatnot? What is Gunn seeing with the Swamp Thing? Which direction he wants to take it. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, well. So, any final thoughts from you, Baron, Whoopa, the chat on the announcement? Do you have some hope or do you still have some doubts? I have some doubts. I got to be honest. I have some doubts.
Yeah, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I think I'd say kind of similar to that. I've got a lot of doubts for sure.
Hmm.
It's I don't know. Like I'm not gonna say I'm super excited about any of this besides Booster Gold, which hopefully is not a mistake. But there's also stuff like even though I'm reserved about the Superman film, I'm
Hmm.
probably gonna give it a shot. Waller sounds like it could be interesting. Also could suck. There's some things that's like, oh, this might be good. I'm gonna give it. What was the Paradise Lost?
Yeah.
Yeah, Paradise Lost. That's the Wonder Woman.
Yeah. So there's stuff that's like, oh, this is interesting, but
Hmm.
there's also a lot of stuff that I'm not convinced with.
Yeah, like I wouldn't mind seeing, the Batman movie with Damian Wayne just out of curiosity if, you have the right actor cast as Batman, the right actor cast as Damian Wayne, and the story's good. Same with Paradise Lost.
Right.
The story has to be good, and the casting has to be good.
And true to
not
its
great.
source. Yeah. And true to its source. It's got to be true to its source. And not copying MCU. That's the big important thing. There's nothing wrong with having this all tied together in one fashion or another, but to try to copy the same blueprint as the MCU is a mistake. Because right now, I have to sit back and say, I honestly believe that superhero films are starting to get fatigued on people.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm just hoping they're not doing this too late at DC. I'm a bigger DC fan than I am Marvel. I've said that many times. So I've been craving for good DC media like this coming out. So James Gunn, I mean, so far I know that some of the stuff wasn't his full decision. Some of it was the guy above him, so he's got to play along with that. I'm not happy that Cavell was let go. In such, I'm not happy that Ezra Miller is still around, but I'm hoping they have a plan to have that trap door underneath them in front of the Mr. Burns's desk.
Yeah, I mean, the
I'm
article
hoping.
did mention that none of the actors are permanently tied to the role. So,
Mhm.
what if we do get a situation where they release the Flash movie as planned,
Mhm.
and then after a while they say Ezra Miller's not coming back,
Mhm.
and they're casting somebody else, or they're bringing the actor who currently plays the Flash on TV to the
Right.
big screen? I don't
Mhm.
know. I'm just throwing that out there.
I
Right.
think the only person they said in this article was whoever plays Amanda Waller. That was the only thing I
Yeah,
remember.
Viola
Yeah.
Davis.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I do think, and hopefully this isn't just wishful thinking. It makes sense in my brain at least that it's the same thing with Superman, where they made sure to announce that is it Cavell? Is that how you're supposed to
Yeah.
say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cavell. That's what I say. I hope I say it right.
Well, I
He's
don't
one of
know.
us. He's a geek. He's one of us, so I want to be respectful to him.
Yeah, the Geek King. Uh,
Hmm.
but they didn't announce that he wasn't coming back until after Shazam.
Hmm.
Once he had his little cameo. Same with not after Shazam, after Black Adam, which is the same
Yeah.
with The Rock. I'm hoping, I'm thinking slash hoping that it's just they don't want to announce before the Flash movie that, oh yeah, this guy, he's not gonna be. They're gonna wait for the movie to come out, and then once it comes out, they're like, yeah, that's the end of it. That's my hope.
Well, yeah, and from what I understand, it's going to be a multiverse story. So, uh, that Flash movie. So, I mean, that could be like when they're sitting back saying that this could be the gateway into this new one. They might be absolutely right. I mean, it could be that way because they're looking at that multiverse. We're supposed to be seeing Michael Keaton in this. We're supposed to be seeing a lot of others. They're going to be bringing back from, Linda Carter and others in some fashion of CGI trickery in some fashion or other. So the fact that they're doing that, it's for all we know, maybe they're redoing a little bit of the film at the end there, where the Ezra Miller Flash disappears and it opens up to a new universe. Who knows? I don't
Maybe.
know. I hope. I hope. I mean, I want to see this film, even though it's an Ezra Miller film. There's so much around it that's so intriguing, and it's such a shame that they have that schmuck on there. So.
Any other final thoughts before we move on to the next story?
Well, I'm cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic. And
I'm just cautious.
yeah, well, I'm a little optimistic. It's like you said, Booster Gold and some others. It sounds very interesting. So I got to have a little optimism there, but there's a lot more caution.
There, I'll say, you have the optimists to say glass half full, pessimists
Mhm.
say glass half empty. At this point, I'm like, are you sure that's water? I don't
Right?
know.
Yeah. Why is it yellow?
Yeah, I'm still skeptical.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid on this one. It's just there's got to be some hope, right? And that's the
Mhm.
important thing. And a lot of stuff they said in there looks hopeful. And James Gunn is a good director, a good storyteller. I mean, he did wonders. I'm just hoping that he does go more original, having this universe brought around. And being that he's starting it out, he could probably he probably wants to do it his own way, and hopefully he wants to do it different than Marvel universe, so he can thumb his nose at them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm hoping. I'm hoping. You got to
Fingers
have some hope.
crossed. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
that's why I'm cautiously optimistic. A lot more caution, though. I'm saying I want to see good DC. I want to see good DC.
And that's what anybody wants to see. They wanted to see DC compete with Marvel from the beginning.
Yep.
Go toe to toe with them.
Mm-hmm.
not
I
being left out
always
in the dust like they've been.
Mm-hmm.
I always grew up. I didn't read the comics, but I loved watching movies or animated shows and such. And I grew up on DC and X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
But so I always would rather those stories, and they also made better games, at least in my opinion. But yeah, I think of it like yeah, we'll bring it to a baseball talk because that's my specialty, you know.
Oh no, here we
Uh,
go.
Hey,
I'll make
Nova,
it quick, but it's kind of like people have been talking about this. The Cardinals might be keeping in Paul DeYoung as the shortstop or as our backup middle infielder, which I'm pretty sure last time Paul DeYoung was good, none of us had channels.
What,
So
what isn't he the lead singer for uh, that one rock group?
kind of looks like a singer. I mean,
Oh
in a
no,
boy
that's
band. I don't
Paul
know.
DeYoung, he did "Lady." Yeah,
you do realize how hard it is for me right now to not say any kind of quip against the Cardinals, Whoopa.
Hey, listen, you can say them because you know if it was me, I wouldn't hold back.
we
No,
know.
no, gonna be a good host to my guest, and I'm not gonna say any
Wow,
Cardinal quips
No.
tonight.
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 Okay. But it's so much like that. It looks like he's gonna be a backup again. They're like, oh, everyone's like, I don't know why people are hoping that he fails and all this stuff. And it's like, look, I don't hope he fails. I want him to do great. I want him to hit like he did when he was a rookie and be an elite shortstop. But I just, I've seen him play. I've seen the stats. Maybe it'll happen, but I know that history is not on his side. With stuff
Well,
like
I
that with
mean,
DC, we've seen so much
let's
bad.
take a look at real quick, and then we'll get refocused back on track. But Jason Hayward, I was excited when he signed with the Cubs
Hmm.
after the 15 season, thinking, yeah, he's a good player, he's reliable, good defensive outfielder, good at the plate. But we never got that version of Jason Hayward at the plate. We got Jason Hayward in the outfield on defense, but we never got the Jason Hayward that Cub fans had seen at the plate, who would get the timely hits and the clutch hits and
Hmm.
hit a home run or two. We never got that. And there were fans who were saying, let go of Jason Hayward. I wasn't one of them. I was still rooting for the guy. Yes, it was frustrating to see him struggle at the plate like he did, but it's baseball. There are certain things you just can't figure out. No matter
Ladies,
how long you've been around the game, no matter how long you watch the game.
ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us here for Pop Talk ESPN Plus. Uh,
Da-na-na, da-na-na.
I
But
know, smart Alec.
yeah, it's smart ass.
Mhm.
But getting back onto topic here. See, we didn't delay too long. We have the story from Cosmic Book News that says Doctor Who's Russell T Davies blasts woke TV writers for rubbish writing.
Mhm.
The showrunner of the upcoming season and Mark Gatiss offer how to fix TV in a new interview. Hmm.
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 Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Russell T Davies, who returns to Doctor Who for the franchise's 60th anniversary, blasts woke TV writers for their bad writing. Davies and Mark Gatiss spoke with UK Sunday Times in an article about how to save TV. And goes on to say, I do a lot of mentoring, and there are voices wanting to be heard of any gender or ethnicity who consider themselves invisible, said Davies. They hate the media that ignores them. They they're trapped in wanting a job in that medium purely to increase representation. Goes on to say, so we see Davies is saying the woke TV writers hate their jobs and only care about injecting woke representation into their projects. which of course comes at the expense of quality story. Something Disney has been doing with Star Wars and Marvel, which explains those franchises' downfall, in addition to lots of Hollywood IPs.
Hmm.
Davies added, I read their scripts and they're rubbish. They don't actually love television, so
Rubbish.
they don't know how to write for it. Well, that's evident with a lot of writers nowadays,
Right.
whether they're putting in a woke agenda or not.
Hmm.
Writing isn't what it used to be.
Right. You have to have a good story.
Hmm.
You have to have a good way to present that story, depending on what medium you want to put into TV, movie, uh, streaming television, where you don't actually have to worry about time necessarily, time limiting constraints, and be able to do a good story within that context. And of
Hmm.
course, like the movie, you have the three acts in the movies, the beginning, middle, and the final wrap up, which probably a lot of them don't understand how to do, which is one of the problems. And of course, like you're saying, they have to throw in all their pronouns and everything else, and that's what it's all about. It's just to be propaganda, and uh, even good propaganda had good stories. I mean, when you had propaganda coming out of various political parties and various other countries and such, they
Hey,
had to have good stories because they had to keep the masses watching so they could get the message out. These
as
people don't know how to
someone,
even do that.
as someone who's watched a good bit of Soviet films for my
Hmm.
Russian film study class, they some of those had some good stories, some of them didn't, but
Yeah,
there were some pretty good Soviet films out there.
yeah, exactly. And of course, obviously, there was that underlying message, the of the party. But the thing is just like you said, they encouraged even National Socialism, the same thing, encouraged good filmmaking, but you had to keep in line to the little Austrian corporal, or and make sure you have those out there. And um, some of those films are still studied, and techniques are still used. I mean, George Lucas used some of them from Triumph, especially with the ending scene with the marches. If you're going to do propaganda, and let's face it, propaganda in and by itself is not a bad thing. It's just you trying to promote what your ideals are. It can be used for good. It can be used for evil.
Hmm.
Um, it just, are you going to have a good story behind it to keep people enthralled and think about it? And these people don't. They just
No,
go out there with a sledgehammer and say, "It's this way or else."
you better do it this way. You better tell my story this way, or else I'm going to go to, HR, or I'm going to go onto Twitter and I'm going to get people to rally behind me and we're going to
Hmm.
get your project canceled.
Right. Twitter's out there. We can use Twitter. I Yelp. I Yelp. You know. You know.
So this article goes on to say Davies added, I read their scripts and they're rubbish. They don't actually love television, so they don't know how to write for it. I know I already read that, but I thought I would go ahead and read it again.
Thank you.
Mark Gaddis, a long-time Whovian who has acted and written for Doctor Who, shares the same concerns as Davies about the lack of quality new writers, where Gaddis references Pollyanna, a novel about a little girl who is surrounded by mystery but always has an optimist approach and attitude. Sometimes I think I'm like Pollyanna because I've met so many people who hate making television, Gaddis said. It seems to make them so miserable. Go to work on the bins or something. It's hard work. It gives you ulcers. So you have to love it.
He's absolutely right on that. I mean,
Mhm.
Gatiss is a Doctor Who fan long before the revival series. I believe he wrote for the Doctor Who: The New Adventures. I think, and he's done big Finnish productions. So, I mean, he knows Doctor Who. I'm not necessarily a big fan of his, but he does know Doctor Who, and he's absolutely right in those aspects. This is a hard thing. This is a hard industry to be in, especially
Mhm.
if we're doing a TV show. It's a grinding schedule that you have when you go out there. It's not like a motion picture in those senses. Um, So yeah, I mean, from everything from the actors down to the cameramen to the editors to the directors, it is a hard trying thing. You got to have a love for it. You got to have a passion for it. More than just love, passion.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be something that you wake up and say, I can't wait to work on this new script that we're writing for this next episode,
Hmm.
or I can't wait to finish the script and present it because I think this will be a good episode. And
Hmm. I mean, J.
so,
Michael Straczynski literally aged over the 5 years he did Babylon 5, considering he wrote
mhm.
most of those episodes. That grinding schedule, along with answering fans' emails and other stuff. So he was, above and beyond. Again, you have to have a passion.
Yeah. The article goes on to say Doctor Who under Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker has seen a big ratings decline and has been described as woke. As the problem is not that it features Whittaker as the first female doctor, she's a good actor, but
Eh,
that's the author's opinion.
yeah.
Yeah, fact checkers, please check this.
Hmm.
But that Chibnall went out of his way to make his political viewpoints known at the expense of the story, which includes retconning the Doctor for the sake of diversity, as well as attacking Donald Trump and such, with Chris North playing the villain.
And see, that's the big problem. It's, uh, Doctor Who has had political messages to it. It really has. Robert Holmes, who was one of the great Doctor Who writers, uh, put his thoughts, political and social thoughts, into stories. But the thing is he wove an interesting story around it. Caves of Androzani, which is considered probably the greatest of the original series stories, was definitely one that was going after capitalism because he was a socialist, and various other aspects of that. The Two Doctors, because he's a vegetarian, he was using that as a message to promote vegetarianism. When he did the Sunmakers, it was an attack on the British tax system. Uh, so yeah, I mean, even during the '70s with John Pertwee, there was like the Green Death, which was an environmental story. Yeah, you had messages in these political messages even, but the thing is they were woven into a great story or a good story, and it wasn't it wasn't the big thing about it. It was interwoven in it, but it wasn't the let's hit him over the head with a hammer. So.
Yeah, and that's the big thing that I think is, when you hear these people, oh, it's always been political. Oh, this has always been political. Star Wars, Marvel, blah blah blah. That's what they
Mhm.
sound like, by the way.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's like, yeah, first of all, often the political messaging is very overarching,
Hmm.
something that applies as much today as it did back then.
Hmm.
Whereas stuff like this, which, from what I understand, the Doctor pretty much had a villain who was Mr. President Trump,
Right.
uh, which is, well, that's gonna, 4, 8 years from now, that's gonna have aged terribly. You're
Right.
gonna look at it
Mhm.
like, well, what do I care about this? Especially for Britain, where he's not even in charge of it. But
Right.
uh,
Well.
it, there's so much stuff. It's like, yeah, when you're talking about these, there was first of all subtlety, and second
Mhm.
of all, it's themes, not
Right.
just topics. I guess I'd say.
There. Yeah. Perfect. There. Yeah. Which interwoven. That's how I said. But yeah, it's themes. It's exactly. And as it goes, Russell T Davies better get down off of that soapbox because he's a little guilty of it himself. But continue on, and I'll follow through with it. With that.
And the article finishes off by saying Russell T Davies is bringing back David Tennant as the 14th Doctor. It says, what about Russell T Davies being woke? It's known Davies' plans for the new Doctor include the first black actor who also happens to be gay, and Davies has cast a transgender in the role of Rose. But according to what Davies says above, it seems his new Doctor and Rose won't be going out of their way to be pointed out as being black, gay, and transgender, and that entirety of Doctor Who will not be retconned to make every character so. It goes on to say it's probably also safe to assume that Davies won't be mocking the fan base, which a lot of the miserable writers also like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And Davies is also bringing back fan favorites David Tennant and Catherine Tate in 3 specials that will air prior to Nakuti Gatwa taking over. I'm still skeptical. I
Well, keep
I
on going down there. There's a couple other interesting lines. Go back down to the bottom. So, Chibnall's, of course, laughed about Davies ignoring his woke doctor. Another example: Neil Gaiman is also woke, but there's no doubt he's an A-list writer. Okay, I just wanted to because I saw Gaiman's name in there.
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't read that part.
No problem. I just wanted to because it helps with what my pontification will be about this.
Okay, well,
Oh,
fire away.
Okay, you got. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Russell T Davies. I didn't think he was that good, to be honest. I loved the first season though of Doctor Who of the new run with and pretty much because of Christopher Eccleston. I think he did a great job as a Doctor. Whatever it is that pissed him off to leave the show, because somebody crossed the line and to the point he never wanted to come back because those people were still around in one fashion or another. Um, and I wouldn't doubt if it's Russell Davies might be the guy. I don't know.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. He would have, if he would have been on for at least another season, if not 2, he would have been considered one of the great doctors of all time. I was never a fan of David Tennant. No offense to him, he just never grabbed me. And and basically, I just kind of slowly walked away from Doctor Who. But Russell T Davies is also pretty damn woke. He had an entire this I don't know the name. It was a 2-parter where "Are You My Mummy?" with the kid with the gas mask and such. And virtually every man in that story was either bisexual or gay, from the army officer to the butcher to, of course, they brought in Captain Jack, who's supposed to be a trisexual, which means if whatever is out there, he's going to try it. So he's done his share of doing woke stuff with Doctor Who, and pushing a little bit above what the story should be all about. It's like, why are you even putting this in? It's not necessary. Just deep to the story. And Gatiss is a pretty good writer. I'm not a big fan of him. So, but everything they sat back and said is right. And as for Whittaker and her acting abilities, all she can do is just make one face, yeah, and that's about it. I mean, her range as Doctor Who is pathetic. So, and of course, that's the other thing, not attacking the fans. Davies, I think, was even kind of outspoken when that was happening with Chibnalls, or Chinballs as we call them, and the others when they were attacking fans. And it's like, no, you got to reassure them, not attack them. And of course, that reassurance never came. And obviously, the people that were concerned about were right. Doctor Who is in the tank. This guy that they have that's going to be playing the Doctor was not Russell T Davies. He had actually picked somebody else to play the Doctor. He was forced this guy on. This guy was forced on him. So what's he going to do with somebody that was forced on him by higher up people at BBC, especially after they yanked the decision, the person he decided to have. So
he's going to have a chip on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean, I already saw with his interview. It was on live with what's her name and what's his name. It used to be Regis Philbin's show before she backstabbed everybody. But he's going out there and he's saying about this is going to be on like it never happened before. It's going to be on Disney Plus, American Network. Oh wow! And it's like, well, excuse me, when Doctor Who came back in 2005, the Sci-Fi Channel had it. So don't be going around saying it's a first. Of course, we're not going to skip over all the PBS stations, but when you want to talk about the quote unquote big network thing, Sci-Fi Channel had it first, buddy. They're doing everything. They have damage control, and they're doing everything wrong. And I think Russell T Davies, what he's saying about this is he's firing shots. He is firing shots. He is not happy with what he's got, and he knows that this is. You're trying to bail the Titanic with a bucket with a hole in it. Ain't going to happen. And Doctor Who should actually, come to an end now. It needs to end.
Yeah, it needs to go on a hiatus. It's been going constantly since 2005.
Right. And the thing is it could still be a big thing if they were doing it right. They kind of lost their roots to Doctor Who. They kind of lost what Doctor Who was about. They forgot what was the magical elements that brought Doctor Who together. And when you talk to quote-unquote Doctor Who fans, they've never seen the old show. It's like, well, have you ever seen Tom Baker? No, I never saw any of those. Well, then you're not a Doctor Who fan. You're just a New Who fan or a Tennant fan. Oh, we want to have David Tennant because he's so sexy and I want him. That's what it started becoming, a show of trying to get the little fangirls' panties all wet. And, of course, they lost it big time because how are you going to get the fangirls' panties all wet when you have a female doctor?
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen despite what they think.
No matter how you slice it, it's not going to happen.
Right. They're under the delusion that after 3 drinks, a woman will do anybody. Will become a lesbian or have a lesbian relation. No, that's not true.
That's only true in college.
Yeah, that's only true in college. That's correct. Or those movies that I see on those other streaming services that they have on internet.
Yes.
Those. Yeah, yeah. And but yeah, as that goes, it's Doctor Who's dead. It's dead. They've had the worst ratings than even the darkest days of the original series.
Yeah, only in years can I compare it to Star Trek, because Star Trek was going on for 18 years from 1987 to 2005 before it was canceled. And its current, back then, its current iteration, Star Trek Enterprise. There comes a time where you have to let a franchise rest.
Right.
It needs to rest. So new ideas can come about and everything's new again. Everything's fresh, but it still keeps to what makes the series great.
See, what helped Doctor Who have it last for 26 years originally was you had a rotation of people. But within the first 4 years of Doctor Who, all the people who started the show were gone and new people were in. And you had new people adding to the mythos and the storytelling. And of course, by that 4th year also, you had the main character gone and replaced with a new main character, Patrick Troughton from William Hartnell. But as things went along, even within the range of a doctor's tenure, you had producers change. You had, writing staff change through that whole time. The big problem is when you got to John Nathan Turner, he was in the part for 10 years as a producer, and it showed. And it started aging bad because they weren't getting the fresh blood. That's the same problem with Star Trek that they had. When you had Piller and Berman, those guys start taking over for Star Trek, they were always there. You didn't really get this rotation of producers and others and writing staffs in there. So what did you have?
The one main constant person throughout all of it.
Yeah.
Even after Michael Piller left, Jerry Taylor left, you always had Rick Berman there.
Right. Exactly. And the thing is that needed to be moved around. He needed to be moved out and have some fresh blood. Star Trek probably would have had a better track record and kept on going. It's not that the show's been on for so long. It's how the show's been on so long. And with this new Doctor Who series, they really haven't had that many changes. Now we're going back to Russell T Davies after he had the show for how many years? Then it went to, I can't remember what his name is.
Stephen Moffat?
Yeah, thank you, Moffat. Then it went to Chin Balls, and now it's back to Russell Davies. No, you need to have a brand new white clean. You have to have a slate cleaned. When they were talking about J. Michael Straczynski possibly doing it, that's what got me excited, because I knew if there's an American that can do this job, it's him, because he has a love and a passion for British television, particularly Doctor Who and Blake Seven, which were inspirations for him. They should have gone that way, but not going back to Davies.
I mean, I think of J. Michael Straczynski, and one of his writing credits, believe it or not, is writing for the original He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Right. Which is why it was such a good show.
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't dumb it down for the kids. He knew kids were intelligent.
That's the thing that I always get ticked off about with so much of this stuff, especially Pokemon, because this is always a thing. It's a game for kids. It's a kids game. Okay, well then why are you a 25, 30-year-old commenting on it right now if it's just a kids game? Mm-hmm. People acting like the first, getting off a tangent, but like the first Pokemon
Go ahead,
movie.
get on that tangent.
Go on a tangent. We love them.
The first Pokemon movie was like, it's seriously a really good movie. I would say one of the best animated movies ever. It has some kid elements, but the source material is very serious. I mean, Ash basically dies for a point. That's very heavy for a kid to watch, but it has like big themes that I'm pretty sure even me, when I was like 3 watching that show, understood. You can make important points, make it simple, and make things that kids can understand, because kids aren't dumb. Kids still like quality shows.
I'm sure that when kids saw that Ash died for a time, it broke them. Mm-hmm. I can say that as someone who was in the movie theater back in 1986, August of 1986, watching Optimus Prime die.
No!
I know I play that clip a lot. I'm not going to play it tonight, but
you make me cry too when you do it.
I can relate as someone who was 8 years old and seeing who was essentially my TV hero die the way he died. It's like, no, Prime.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And there's so much of that stuff with, like, unless it's a baby show,
Yeah.
Like, there's not much to Barney or Teletubby. I still look back. Why did I like Teletubby? That's a weird show. But there's so many. When I'm like in elementary school, you watch cartoons, and there were certain cartoons you're like, this is dumb. Like, you can recognize quality when you're a kid. You're not just brainwashed. Oh, even like something like SpongeBob, which is dumb. It's made. I love SpongeBob, but that's because at least early SpongeBob, it was made to be dumb. They weren't just being silly. There was a method to the stupidity. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like,
they had a plan. They knew exactly where they wanted to go with the characters, and they executed.
Yeah, when I was working in the warehouse, there a guy that I was working with had a kid about roughly the same age, a little older than my kid. But we'd watch SpongeBob, and we'd talk about it and critique the episodes in a warehouse. So here's a couple 30, 40-year-olds workers in a warehouse talking about SpongeBob. And what's great about it is there's so many different levels. You have the kids level, you have the older kid level, you have the teen level, you have the adult level. There's so much in those early stories, at least, that everybody can enjoy, just like the old Warner Brothers cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
And J. Michael Straczynski was also involved with the real Ghostbusters, which is why that show was so good. He was, and then they had Captain Power, and they had a major character die in that. And this is a kid show, or quote unquote kid show. So, I mean, you're talking about someone who wasn't afraid to push boundaries for kids because it made them think. He knew that they were intelligent people.
And here's the thing: Input's bringing up Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. That's a great movie because there is a scene where Puss is in a tavern and Death draws blood from Puss, and you actually see it on Puss's paw. I think it's okay for me to spoil that part. The movie's been out several months now. You can actually buy it on digital if you want to watch it. But
thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing you need to know. You come to this channel, I'm more than likely going to give a spoiler. I'm going to rip that Band-Aid off.
Mike is as spoiled as the milk I've had in my fridge since 2019.
You know what? All I'm going to tell you, Barrett, is walk it off. You're down there on the ground crying. Walk it off.
Ooh,
Again.
I'm like Peter Griffin. Ooh, ooh,
I don't want to hear any complaining, soldier.
That just reminds me of when I had to clean out my apartment one time when we were in college, and our messy roommate left me and my other roommate to clean stuff up, and he was cleaning out the fridge. I'm cleaning out other stuff. Open a cabinet and fruit flies came out. That was fun. And he's cleaning out the fridge and he says, "Dude, this milk says best by October, and we're leaving college, so it was May." Like,
oh,
and here's Whoopa. Here's Whoopa.
It stinks.
Yep.
yeah.
And not only that, here's Whoopa with the whole situation.
Do you see what happens, Larry, when you fuck a stranger in the ass? What happens?
Yep.
Do you see what happens, Larry?
Is this your handwriting, Larry?
I like Larry. I thought he was one of my favorite characters.
Spoil. Yep. I'm just saying it. You come here, I'm more than likely going to give you a plot point. I'm just going to
Lighten up, Francis.
No, I will not. I will not. But yes, I will give away a spoiler, and well, you've been warned.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Yes, definitely.
And input says that Puss in Boots spoiler happens early in the movie. So or do you mean So
I was gonna say. So, yeah, I was wondering, is he talking like a Canadian there?
That Puss in Boots spoiler happens early in the movie, Yes, I'm still on that Strange Brew kick. Sorry.
Oh, that's a great movie. I love that movie. I need to get that in DVD somehow.
Yeah.
And I just need to do one thing here because I know we're switching topics, but I have to do this. See if it works. Cash money. Okay.
Cash, wake up.
Star Trek 5 stinks.
Oh, that's gonna wake someone else up.
I know. I kind of miss him.
Don't worry. I won't find him back. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to check with the guests I have for Sunday to make sure that this guest can still come on the show. If they can't, then we'll just reschedule.
Okay, definitely. I have no idea about this.
I'm just going to do my best here. I'm just going to do my best. I've never played the Persona game, so I'm coming at this like what?
Yeah, Mike, I want you to do this story. I'll be there to help explain everything. No problem. So yeah, I'll be there to make sure that my input on that. There, those guys, have that. So don't worry, I'll be there.
I mean, we need to cash money these people.
I tell you. I mean, if we would, that's what you get when you argue on Twitter till 5:00 in the morning. Our Twitter warrior.
And input latency says, in my opinion, if it's an utterly trash movie, who cares about spoilers? But if it's actually quality stuff, then be a bit more sensitive.
Did you know that Bruce Willis was dead in that movie?
But and I think at the same time, input, if the movie's been out for several months and somebody hasn't seen it by now, I think that embargo's lifted and you could go ahead and say something about it.
Yeah, that's not like walking out of Empire Strikes Back on the opening day going, wow, I didn't know Darth Vader was Luke's father. And all the people in line hearing it. It's like...
All right. So input says, all right, P3 and P4 products of their time, therefore racism.
Oh, oh, no.
All right. I will do my best with this.
Good luck.
All right. It says video game news outlets rehash tired whining about Persona 3 and Persona 4 after remasters released for modern consoles.
Okay.
All right. Let's hear it for a release for modern consoles. Let's hear it.
Yay.
That's the enthusiasm I expected.
Yay.
Once again, proving themselves to be the journalistic equivalent of ambulance chasers, the recent release of Persona 3 Portable for Golden remasters for modern systems has prompted numerous video game outlets to make a play at relevancy by rehashing the same tired identity politics based controversies, which, yes, I am doing this on purpose because I don't know about anyone else, but I'm tired of hearing about this.
What the hell you say?
Yes, yes. It's not diverse and inclusive. It's not this. It's not that. Which has disingenuously hounded Atlas Classics for years. Released on January 19th, these remasters bring the upgraded versions of the game responsible for both the spin-off Persona and base Shin Megami Tensei series worldwide explosion in popularity. Though it should be noted that P3P cuts the anime cutscenes featured in the expanded Persona 3, the FES release in favor of laughably poor in-game animations, as well as the Answer expansion to players on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Windows, Xbox One, and Xbox Series XS platforms. It goes on to say, featuring a Persona summoning system, which relies on a given user firing a gun-shaped evoker at their head to unleash their inner self. Persona 3 Portable follows the exploits of the specialized extracurricular execution squad as they seek to investigate the cause of an outbreak of sudden catatonia, which has randomly begun to infect the citizens within the Japanese city of Ayatodai. Don't know if I said that right. I probably didn't, and I do apologize. No. And if Phil McCracken were here, he'd be cackling like the devil he is.
He would be, huh? I know he would be. Exactly, and this is why.
This is Patrick Stewart, and I wish to tell Phil McCracken that I hate him also.
We love you, Phil. We really do.
I tell you, Phil Cracken gets no respect. I tell you.
He loves that one.
I don't think he's heard that one.
I'm just saying that because he's gonna love it. Meanwhile, Persona 4 Golden centers on the Japanese equivalent of the mystery game on their quest to solve the mystery behind a string of brutal murders occurring in the small rural town of Inaba, all of which center around a mysterious new demon-filled dimension which can only be accessed through people's television sets. Dang. I knew they said that watching too much TV would make you brain dead, but I didn't know you go into hell.
Uh-huh.
All right, Baron Money. With the original versions of each game having hit shelves in 2006 and 2008, respectively, the twin pair of PlayStation 2 era Persona games have spent a good amount of time and a number of re-releases in the years since being subjected to unending an unending stream of critical and often insufferable analysis, most of which disgustingly writes off the intentions of the original creators as Japanese ignorance in favor of using Western identity politics as a basis for disingenuous accusations of bigotry.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Baron.
Okay. I was hoping I wasn't the only one.
No, you're not.
Okay.
I'm right
Okay,
there
thank
with
you.
you.
How about you, Whoop? I think we lost Whoopa.
I think his silence says everything.
Yeah. You know what? I think this is Whoopa.
I want you to know it's over.
Well, bye.
I think that was Whoopa.
Yeah, that was me.
Goes on to say, and unfortunately, despite actual fans of the series regularly and thoroughly disproving such claims by citing the game's scripts themselves, this trend has only grown more ridiculous with the release of P3P and P3 or P4G. Yeah, blooper. But anyways, the new releases. So the whole gist of this, it sounds like I'm not going to read the rest of the article.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna save everybody from having to read this.
Cash Money is going to suffer for this. I will find a way to get him.
Oh, Barrett, there
to
is something we could do. There is something we could do. Since the man who was telling me about this, and I said, "Would you like to talk about it on Pop Talk on Wednesday?" And he said yes. And he's not here. I think everybody here should follow the orders from the Emperor.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
Well, he does have that one
Cash
fan.
Money can put his change in my piggy bank any day. Cash.
So he does have that one fan.
All right. What? And that's supposed to mean something?
I don't know.
He's not even here yet. Like a trooper, I still read a little bit of that story. You're welcome, Cash. You owe me one.
Like a Whoopa Troopa?
Yeah. I was begging you backstage not to do it, but no, do you listen to me? Of course not. So if he doesn't show up, we don't read the story. No, I'm gonna go ahead with it and do my best.
Because I gave him my word, I would do it.
Well, he gave us a word he'd be here.
No, Bear Man.
Those guys, you just don't know what and then of course Crit, being fart master,
So, does anybody have anything they'd like to plug?
Crit's blowhole. Cash Money's bank account.
Hey, he lives in California. That's already going down the drain.
Oh yeah, he'll be in the camp soon enough, or as depends on if he keeps on that. He's probably at the CCP meeting. That's what it is. As with
that
Phil.
Might be it. They finally got him.
Phil.
Possibly.
Yeah, with Phil.
Oh gosh.
So, Whoopa, do you have anything you want to plug, or anyone you want to plug?
That's a loaded statement.
Not in that way, Baron.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll put the list away.
Oh, God. I can't take these two anywhere.
I'm trying to just find an apartment so I can do stuff. There was an apartment. I went to do a visit today at lunch. And they said, hey, I saw online that you have an opening. Oh, no, we don't. Oh, well, thanks for keeping your site nice and up to date.
Yay. That's good.
So I got to try and find another place. But it should be good. Hopefully I'll have internet soon. And I'm trying to make a stream clip right now with me talking about how games journalists are stupid.
Oh yeah, you know that. You know those refrigerator boxes go for cheap now. You could get a good one somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's pretty nice.
they have the double wide now.
Oh, so a deluxe apartment. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, go for those refrigerator boxes, and you get a lot of fresh air.
There you go.
hmm But for me, I'd like to plug, of course, every Wednesday I'm here with, of course, my co-host, the man of the hour here, the big guy, Mike, and various guest people like Whoopa. We do this, of course, Sunday too. So it's like, I believe it's 1 o'clock my time, 2 o'clock your time, right, Mike? Did I say that right?
It's 1 o'clock my time, high noon your time.
Okay, see, that's why I need you because I was eating the Kings all mixed up too the other day. And of course, Sunday, the Kings, Primetime Kings with 24/7 Fusion Media, Vigilante Williamson, New Bomb Turk, myself. That's 5 o'clock on Sundays on 24/7's channel. So that's what I want to plug.
All right. And I do want to say that on February 15th, since that seems to be the favorite date, there will be the third collector's stream here on the Pacific Forum for YouTube channel. It will be an edition of Pop Talk, as it's always been. And I have a couple of guests that have already said yes. I will not say who they are until we get a little closer, just to make sure that they're still able to come on the show that day. But it's a collector stream like the previous ones where anybody who is interested can come on and either talk about their collection or showcase their collection, whether it be in pictures or whether it be their webcam. Say, I have this collection of Star Wars books or Star Wars figures that I've been collecting since, insert date here. Or, you have a movie collection you want to show off. You have a game collection you want to show off. Whatever it is you collect.
Belly buttonlet.
Well, that ew.
Of course, I'm going to spoil it. Our guest will be James Gunn, Patrick Stewart, and Ezra Miller.
God help us.
I might have to pass on that.
I would like to showcase my collection of books. Patrick, could you speak up? We can't hear you.
I just want to let you know I hate Phil McCracken also.
And let's see what Gap's saying here. He says, I thought you weren't broadcasting it, and I came back. You're still broadcasting. Oh, gosh. Gap. Don't ever listen to Baron. That was your whole downfall in the beginning. You listen to Baron.
What?
In the beginning.
What do you mean?
When he said, good night, folks, after I made the first blooper of the night.
Well, it's Gap's fault.
But anyways, there's going to be that collector stream at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, February 15th. And then this Friday, I'm thinking about streaming a classic game. A classic game from the past that I had a lot of fun playing. I can't assume that Baron Baron had a lot of fun playing. No. I mean, this is gonna shock you. Whoopa. I have never played a Pokemon game.
Well, this Friday's a good time to start, Mike.
I have never touched a Pokemon game. But that game I'm going to stream on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern will be Command & Conquer Remastered.
Oh. You're not doing Pokemon After Dark, baby.
Oh no!
What goes on?
I'll leave that to Whoopa.
What goes on in those?
I have seen too many things on the interwebs. This scar
Yeah, Chris Chan, right?
Oh gosh!
And before we leave you, I do have an extra story. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to put it here in the chat for you all to read it. It's about that spiral formation that appeared above Hawaii the other night, and there's a couple of theories, and then there's some logical explanations as to what it actually was. You can read it. You can not read it, but please do me a favor. Tell him Mike sent you.
I just want to say this: aliens.
Yeah, aliens. Yeah,
That is
yeah,
all.
yeah. Cleanouts. Yes, but do me a favor. Tell him Mike PACIFIC414 sent you. Go over as soon as StreamYards cooperates. Oh, really, StreamYards? You're not going to send it? Okay, well, fine. I'll bypass you, StreamYards, and I'll send it this way.
Do it the old-fashioned
Bypass the
way.
compressor.
Yep. But go over to Fat Steven's channel right now. He is streaming a brand new game on PS5, and tell him Mike sent you.
What's he playing?
Hitman.
Ooh.
So
there we go. Catch Fats, guys.
Yes. So I want to thank DJ Ronnie G for being here. I want to thank Gap After Dark for being here. And Gap says it was the Stargate trying to open again. Yeah, I can see that. I did go into a stream earlier and I said it was the Bajoran wormhole. I want to thank Input Latency for being here. It says maybe Pokemon Legends, Arceus 2. I haven't played that though, so I can't vouch personally. One of these days, I don't know when, but one of these days, I'll consider playing a Pokemon game.
Do it.
What goes on in those Pokeballs? We'll find out.
And old man says, can he use a 45? Unfortunately, not on YouTube. YouTube would frown upon seeing that on stream.
Oh yeah, I've heard some of the rules nowadays.
Yeah,
very much.
But I do want to thank old man. I want to thank Gap. I want to thank DJ Ronnie G, Input Latency. Let me scroll up here. Make sure I thank everybody before we leave. It's just something I like to do. Because you all, spend some of your time over here listening to these articles, listening to us, and I do greatly appreciate the support you give this channel. I also want to thank the Padawannabe. I also want to thank Nova Vaughn for being here. And I also want to thank, as I scroll up here, scrolling, keep that mouse scrolling. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Bucky's Crafting. Thank you, Bucky. Please subscribe to Bucky as well. Subscribe to everybody who's been here. The long-suffering Mrs. Tag. Thank you. And as I scroll up, of course, from Everest Productions, Lord Crit.
Orca Boy.
Yes. Although that was a fun stream we had talking about Flash Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, we had the angry Canadian, eh?
Hey.
He's going to be really angry. He's going to go, that PACIFIC414 is a prick, eh?
I've been saying that so long. I know.
And I scroll up here. Yeah, I know. You haven't been shy about it.
Yeah.
I also want to thank Jenna Tolles for being here. Thank you, Jenna.
Sister of Jethro.
Of course, I also want to thank Jet Sparks for being here. And for anybody wondering, do I know when the first open panel of the month is going to be? Yes. And I will announce that Sunday.
Ooh.
Of course, Baron Norman Tag.
I have to think on it. See? Get the little brain.
Lord Thoth, thank you for being here. Greatly appreciate it. And let's see. Anyone else? I don't want to miss anyone. No, that looks like everybody who was here during the live stream. And of course,
Mike, duck. Gap is doing a drive-by.
Pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew.
That's how he takes out his competition, huh?
And Gap, and of course I say this too. Everybody, have a good night. remember, subscribe to everybody's links that have been popping up, whether I've been putting in the commands or they've been coming up automatically. Subscribe to all those great channels. Make sure that you leave a like to this live stream. Subscribe to Baron Norman Tags. Subscribe to Whoopa Troopa. Their links are in the description. It's easy now on YouTube. All you have to do is add somebody and they're in there.
Yay.
And remember, I'm not just a baseball guy. I'm an all-around guy. Have a good night, everyone.
Take care, all.
Bye.
Bye.
Pop Talk is where it's at, baby.
No, Gap, I didn't say I wanted to think genitals. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Wow.
Bring that potty talk here.